Check lang, is the mic working? Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Sige. Um, so I guess my mic is working. And let me just discuss the midterm assignments. I'll be moving the deadline. Let me share my screen because of my recovery period. Let's see. Is this the right? MUP 203. Okay. So today is October 28th. We'll have I put here 10 points. Again, I only made 5 questions. I guess I'll make it, I'll just double the points per question. Okay. So we lost 2 weeks. So we have to do some catch up. So this is basically our coverage up until finals. We'll be covering 2 chapters or 2 sort of articles from chapter 2, 3 articles from chapter 3, and then 1 article from chapter 4, because I really can't sort of unpack and analyze each of the articles as fast as I want to. So I'll just limit myself to 3 articles from chapter 2, 3 articles from chapter 3, and 1 article from chapter 4 from our reference book here, Globalization and Urban Development. So we will have the due date for the midterm assignment will be on November 10. So so I'll just zoom in a bit here. That's November 10. Everyone's present here. So make sure. I don't think there's any problems with November 11. Let me double check the calendar. I have the calendar here. AY 2023. So November 11 should be fine. No strange holidays that we're not aware of. Yeah. And then, of course, our pre-final report will be, will be due another 2 weeks after that. Actually, we can do this all the way down here. Clear contents. Normal. Okay, so I guess I can just move this over here. So at the end of our chapter 3 discussion, and then we'll have a exam, maybe it says here 100 points, but most likely it will be 60 items, total 60 points. And then I'll just adjust the percentages. But anyway, what are these numbers here? I'll just make it red and bold. So the first pre-med report, that's about 100 points. And then we'll have a quiz today, 10 points. And then your midterm report will be another 100 points. So the total will be 210 points. So the purpose for this 100 is just for easier checking. And then I'll just convert that to a percentage. So meaning the two, what they call this, reports will be the biggest percentage, already like 100. And then 10 is just like for checkup. So you can afford to not score good on these quizzes. Then over here, that will be 80. Like that. Then next week, the week after November 11 is November 18. I'll try to be more consistent with quizzes. So just to help you study for the exam. So the questions will be, or the way I ask my questions will be more or less similar to the exam, which will be on December 16. I think we can have this, what do you call this? But we can only do this online. So I won't require you to come to physical class, because I know it's a bit difficult. And especially just for a 1 hour exam seems a bit kanang, what is with the numbering here? So weird. It's adding the numbers. Sorry. Maybe I'll just update these dates. But yeah, so it'll be an online exam. I'll distribute the exam through Google Classroom, and then you can take it on Google Classroom. Okay. So basically why the points are here is just to show you that your final grade will be 50% of the total midterm assignments, and your final here will also be 50% as well. So that's 100 plus 100 plus 10, that's 210. And then over here, it's 10 points on November 18, 10 points November 25, 10 points December 2, and then 80 points on the reporting. So that's a total of, sorry, and then 100 points for the final exam. Most likely, maybe I'll just adjust it like this. So it's more realistic. So 60, 100, and I need a few more points. Maybe I make this 15, 15, 15. It's still short. Maybe I'll make this 120, something like that. Okay. So I guess I'll be making more questions or giving more points to these questions here, November 18, 25, and December 2. And then this will be, I guess I can make this a bit bigger. Maybe if I make that 80 and I make this, maybe if I make this 12, 12, then I need 4 points here, 84, something like that. So it will total, you will have, oh, sorry, it's over, sorry, 74. Maybe I can just make this 10. I know. Sorry, 11, 11, 11. And we need +3. +3 is 77, something like that. It's a bit uneven, but I'll just figure out the distribution of points there. Maybe we'll just do that. 100. Oops. Hindi din. Dako siya 80. Make this 90. Okay, so with this sort of distribution, the pre-final report will have the biggest weight of your kanang final grade. Basically the final half of the semester, and then 90% will be for the final exam. So basically this will tell you that you need more effort on the sort of report than the exam itself. It's still pretty big. Like for example, in our class, passing is 75%. So 90 times 0.75. You still need to get about 67 points in the final exam, sort of, to get a passing mark. But I think the pre-mid here and the next reporting next week will be good based on your current submissions. Okay, so that's basically the breakdown for our kind of activities going towards the final sem. Now let's talk about the midterm assignment. So one thing I want to clarify is that for those of you who are using Word, I would ask you to kanang resubmit, double check your submissions, because some of your images, for example, this one, the formatting is kanang messing with your images. So you can clean that up. I think it's because of the two columns. I think for some efficiency's sake, you can just make it single column. Double check lang if your images are being shown properly. This is why there's still no grade, because like some of the documents I can't read. So sorry, si Hannah ang name example here, pero the others, double check lang pod your works. Okay, so going into the midterm assignment. Oh, sorry, didn't change the title. This is Globalization case study. Due date is November 11. That's 2 weeks from now. And then I started sort of giving you the kanang framework. Basically, what is a case study for our class? So in our class, specifically MUP 203, our case study is a detailed examination of a city and its developmental factors in relation to globalization. So things that must be clarified in your report. You must define a specific bounded system, basically the city. You identify how big it is, where it is located on the globe, etc. And then the individual, the researcher the individual unit or the city or the urban area can be studied in a number of ways. But usually for this kind of report, we're going to focus on a qualitative study. But also include lang the area and size if it's mentioned, or you can also do some extra research on that, like how big is the area for Los Angeles or whatever. and then define a specific period of time. So our reference book is only up until the year 2005. Um, for the purposes of our class, for me, I'm okay with just using 2005 data, but it would be much better if you also include maybe data from 2020. I think that's the most available. And then if you can find data from 2023, that will be even better. But for the purposes of this class, I'll just be requiring um, up until 2005, or what's in the book. And then define your specific environment. So you already know where Los Angeles is, describe the geography, the climate, and the physical context. So this is basically um, our graduate level definition of case study. So to differentiate it from undergraduate definitions of case study, and you have the references here following the APA standards. So what is the objective of the case study? So this is just to unify all of our objectives. The submissions were good, but a bit how do I say, a bit scattered. So it will be useful for our class if everyone has the same objective and a clear definition of what those objectives are, so that we can compare and analyze these different cities better. Okay, so what is a descriptive case study? So according to Period 2020, descriptive case study is used to describe a phenomenon in detail and its real world context. So we already have the reference book. That's where we get the details. And for our class, the main objective is to describe the impact of globalization on the chosen urban area. So how do we need to break down what is globalization to measure its impact. So we already had the framework earlier. I'll just simplify it a bit more, or so to just two items. So number one, this to describe the impact of globalization, you need to first you need to be able to describe first the local political economy of the chosen urban area. So what is that? Basically, the local political economy is what kind of government type, not really government type. I'll describe it a bit further in the next presentation. But there are basically three main political economies. There's socialism, capitalism, and communism. So I think for the most part, all of your cities will be what they call this, using capitalism. So your job is to describe how is capitalism working, or uh, how is capitalism working in the context of your chosen urban area. So there should be a description there, and you need to be able to digest and sort of deconstruct the text so that you can describe accurately how capitalism is working in, for example, Los Angeles and etc. Then second is I just took one factor from the list of factors we had from chapter 1 of our book, basically just the spatial context, because this is an urban planning class. I think it would benefit everyone if we just chose the spatial context elements. So that's industrial activities, population, transportation, etc. So I'll go over that in a bit. And then you have the source of this definition of case studies down here, Peria A 2020. Then our methodology we'll just simplify it further. We'll just have document analysis. So document analysis is a legitimate methodology for postgrad or graduate level studies, master's level studies, as defined as the analysis of documents, audio or visual records, and everything in between. So for us, the book and maybe some websites and maybe some videos that you might find, they're all what they call this legitimate for document analysis. And then to make your document analysis even more sort of professional, you may want to attempt to deconstruct the text in terms of the vantage point of the author. So in our textbook, there are different authors. So for example, in Los Angeles, the author is Richardson and Gordon. So to make a higher level document analysis, you may also want to do a background check on what is Richardson, who is Richardson and Gordon. What are their kanang educational backgrounds? What are they practicing? Are they urban planners? Are they journalists? Are they economic analysts? So that will help you paint a clear picture of what these authors are writing about. And then over here, just a name of our kanang book. So Richardson and Bay. So these are the authors for Globalization and Urban Development. So this will be very interesting to whoever will handle Los Angeles. I think that will be Williams, I think. Okay. Then finally, at the end of your, or the latter half of your report, you will have your discussion points. Basically, identify and analyze impacts of globalization and the context of the local political economy. It's up to you how you divide this part. You can have 5 items, 10 items, as long as you fit it within our sort of word limit. And then the conclusion, basically just 1 or 2 paragraphs explaining what learnings can be derived from from your chosen city, and then can they be applied in urban planning today? And then your references, I think you're already doing it now, will use the APA standard format. So in summary, you need to, oh, I didn't update again, select a city from the globalization reference book, from the globalization reference book. This is from my other class. I had to basically unify all my submissions so it's easier for me to check. Okay. And then basically the goal is to, number one, analyze the local political economy and identify, number two, identify the spatial context. So our word limit or page limits are as follows. So the written report, as much as possible, maximum 10 pages. So that's about maybe 10,000 words. That's about 1,000 word for a whole page. If you have some pictures, it can be less. But for me, I'm counting the pages because the submissions are getting a bit long and it's hard to check, especially with my kind of limited time and experience on this topic. Then finally, our PowerPoints were a bit long as well. So I would like us to limit to 10 slides. And then on November 11, you can submit the written report at 2:30 p.m. The PowerPoints, though, need to be submitted earlier at 11:30. Oh, sorry, this is wrong. This is from the previous class again. So this can be 9 p.m. And then the PowerPoint needs to be submitted before the class starts at 6 p.m. Okay, so PowerPoint first, and then after we discuss in class, you may make some edits to your written report. For me, the written report will have more weight than the PowerPoint. Okay, and then this is how you will structure your written report. I think we're already doing it now. Part one, introduction. I don't know why I have this italicized. Let me just make this a bit more clear. Methodology. Okay, didn't apply it here. Sorry, my OCD is triggering. Okay, there. So introduction. First, we start off with the abstract, then the introduction, the rationale. Excuse me. So in the rationale, you can just copy paste this. This is a case study on the impact of globalization on your selected urban area. The researcher will describe the following: the local political economy context and the spatial context of the chosen site. And then once these data have been collected, the researcher will be able to, or we need to describe the impact of globalization on the chosen city. Okay, so when you get to your objective part, you can just copy this format. So first is describe the impact. The first few statements will be describe. The objective of the study will be to describe the impact of globalization on Los Angeles, St. Petersburg, or whatever city you got. And then your objectives will be as follows. Let me just clean this up. So again, number one, describe the local political economy. So it doesn't have to be what they call it, super precise. You just need to describe it in, I guess, in the terms of how or how our reference book describes that city. So um, I'll go over the local political economy in a few minutes, and then identify the spatial context. So what are the industrial activities? I skim through the reading material. There should be some description of activities, population size during that study period, and like modes of transportation, etc. So it should be there in the reference. And then your methodology, you can just simplify it. So for example, in this research will primarily focus on document analysis of the following items. So the book, your chosen websites, and videos if you have any. Then your discussion points, you just identify the key, what they call this. Sorry, I didn't update this again. The key political, the key local political economy, economy, the local political context, and the spatial of the chosen city. Why does it identify? I don't know what's going on with the spell checker. Okay, so so it's up to you how to break down the discussion points. As long as it describes the local political economy and the spatial context of your chosen city. And then your conclusion will be, what are the learnings derived from this chosen city? Can they be applied in urban design today? And basically, if the impact of globalization is valuable or useful for an urban planning sort of application. And then your references will be the APA standard format. Okay, so is that clear? I think the only thing that's not clear here is the local political economy, which I will describe in the following slides. Is it good? Is it okay so far? No questions yet? Yes, Tadrick, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you just make sure you upload this video so we can make sure we hitting everything
Yeah,
today?
yeah, yeah. I'll upload it now, actually. So this should be ready to go. Midterm assignments, save. I'll also upload this video once we're done with it. Actually, I'll stop recording here so it will process faster.
Salamat.
Okay, stop recording.